All right, everybody. Thank you for coming out. No Pseudo tour. I'm Blak Pantha, aka Ifa Dele Akinloye Egulana Adebanke, which is my priestly name. A little slower. Okay. Ifa Dele, which means Ifa will always bring me home. Akinloye Valor is a title. Egunlana, the Egunguns keep me on my direct path. And Adebanke, the crown will pamper me. I am a practitioner of Ifa. I've been doing so for about 2 years. I delve into many spiritual systems within the African spirituality paradigm. So a lot of people want to get into African spirituality, right? A lot of people have a lot of questions about African spirituality. So what I did was roll a synopsis into this presentation. So what you're going to get is an overview and a summary of a lot of different spiritual systems, but we're going to discuss them in detail. So let's start there. I'm always notoriously bad with clickers. Okay. African spirituality. What is African spirituality, right? It is the indigenous system of Africans across the continent whose goal is to manifest energies, worship natural forces in the universe, and venerate their progenitors and or ancestors. So what does that mean, right? This is these people's indigenous way of life. This system that they created before anybody came to visit them, thousands of years, right? We had 188,000 head start on everybody else. So they're in the business of manifesting energies. Energy is everywhere. Energy is everything. There are many types of energies, whether it be kinetic, potential energy, any type of energy. They're in the business of manifesting those. They worship natural forces. When you stick your foot in water, what happens?
Gets wet.
Gets wet. It's that simple. People make it so difficult, but it's that simple. Natural forces, water, air, rain, fire, lightning, all these different things in nature that Africans decided to give names. So when you want to talk about lightning and you hear the word Shango, they gave it a name. And they worship these natural forces because these natural forces provide them with food, clothing, and shelter. Without nature, what are you? We all live in nature. Nature, people define nature as what you can foresee. And we can foresee a lot as humans, right? Space, stars, air, water, all the elements. They're all a part of nature. So Africans figured that out very early on. So they started to worship nature. Now, venerating your progenitors or your ancestors. We're nothing without our ancestors. Everyone in here has a progenitor. Everyone in here has an ancestor. Someone that came before them. Someone that you're related to in your bloodline, your DNA. So Africans worship these people because without them, we wouldn't be here. Your mother, your father, your grandmother, your aunt, all these people are your ancestors. We call them Egunguns in Ifa. And we put on elaborate ritualistic ceremonies to welcome them to this plane. Because they never die if you continue to voice their names. If you continue to tell your children about them. If you continue to teach people about the great things that they did, they never leave. They become a part of the next generation, and the next generation, and the next generation. So 5 generations from now, man, my great auntie Empress Segment put it down. She was a gardener, she was speaking, she was doing everything. That's how you keep people alive. That's how you venerate your ancestors. And most importantly, we have to start asking this question, if we haven't already. What was before Christianity and Islam? What was before that in Africa? Yes, it's dominant now. But through study, there is a point where this doesn't exist in Africa. So where did it come from? And why are we so dogmatic in these 2 particular religions today? There are many religions in the world. Hinduism, Buddhism. But you don't see Africans being Hindus and Buddhists, do you? We're only the 2 religions that came attached to one thing. Slavery. Why is that? Is that a coincidence? It can't be. Especially when this is still going on to this day. Oh, I'm bad with the clippers. You said down is forward, right?
mean, you gotta be smart.
Thank you, bro.
You gotta be smarter than the clear.
Never. So this slide, if anybody's seen the Batman movie, there's a point where the actor Heath Ledger says, "Why so serious?" all the time when he plays the Joker. So I kind of switched it around a little bit and says, "Why so spiritual?" Because African people, we have a deep, we when we latch on to something dogmatic and religious, man, we in it. You know, by watching your aunties, your uncles, your parents, when they into something, they into it. We put our money, our time, everything into it. The problem is when you try to do this with African spirituality, it becomes problematic. Why? Because you can't be so spiritual by yourself. In African spirituality, it is not me, but we. We are a product of a cultural paradigm. We worship our ancestors together. We pour libation for our ancestors. We put on ritualistic ceremonies and masquerades and rituals all over the continent as a nation. That's why every nation you find in Africa, they had a spiritual system. Whether you go to Ghana, whether you go to South Africa, whether you go to North Africa, wherever you go, you're going to find a type of spiritual system that they used. This is what our people do. Like you hear Jay-Z say, "This is what I do, this is what we do." African spirituality is our birthright. So there are people out here that will tell you, you don't need anyone to be spiritual. And I ask you, whose paradigm are they thinking in? Is that an African paradigm? Or is that our oppressor's paradigm? Because we are always together. You naturally do it. If you're on a bus and there's 5 white people on this side, there's 5 Mexican people on this side, there's 1 African right there, you're going to go sit by him.
For sure.
You just naturally do this.
For sure.
All the time. We are always together. And this is no different. We have to be together in this because it does not work if we are not all together. It's not going to work as a nation. It's not going to work as a culture. If you're trying to buy an abandoned town, it's not going to work if we're not together. If you try to start a business, it's not going to work together. It's not going to work unless we have this in this room, togetherness. Like-minded Africans thinking the same, working to get things accomplished. Nothing works without people. No different in African spirituality. There's an intense rigor that's a part of African spiritual practices. If you talk to any person that's in a priesthood, they will tell you of all the things they had to learn, all the things they had to do, all the things they have to know, all the things that they have to practice. This rigor is what makes African spirituality special. It's the same rigor that ended up in Afrocentricity in the colleges. The same dedication to study. The same checking things over and over and over. You have to be a student of life. And that's what the rigor of African spirituality comes from, being a student of life, being a student of nature. If you don't observe nature in its natural habitat, how are you going to know how to plant these beautiful things Empress Segman has planted? Being a student of nature. She says she tested dirt. How do you know what the dirt's supposed to look like if you haven't observed it? I'd be out there lost. But our African ancestors were observing nature and animals and insects in their natural habitat. And they used those examples to create mega structures, to create spirituality from the ground up. I'm going to tell you something. There is no pyramids without observing nature. There is no ma'at without observing nature. When you talk about these animals that they're attached to, they observe these animals and what they did. And then they go, okay, this animal does this. Let's associate that as an archetype, as an inspiration in our life. We are inspired by nature. If you're not in tune with nature, you are not spiritual. And if you're doing that by yourself, you are not practicing true spirituality. It takes a commitment to be an African spiritual person, to involve your children, to get them involved, to involve your whole family, even if they don't really understand the ins and outs of it. Because I'm going to tell you, we do African spiritual things that we don't even realize are African spiritual practices. How many people know people, man, my boy died, man, before I was 40.
Right.
It's pouring libations.
For the homies who ain't here.
For the homies that ain't here.
For sure.
for the ancestors, the newly made ancestors that ain't here. You do it all the time. You don't even realize it. I don't know how many people have seen the movie Rise. If you haven't seen it, it's a dancing movie. Now they're doing a lot of dances in this movie, but at the end of the movie, they show these kids in LA about an African tribe doing the exact same dances. The problem is neither of these people know about the other. And they're doing the exact same dances. Ritualistic dances, ancestral worship dances. So we so African, we don't even know it. You don't even know how African you are. You can't even help it. You can't help it. You're doing things, man, I could do a whole lecture on that. Okay, why is African spirituality important? One word, culture. Culture is the arts and other manifestations of human intellectual achievement regarded, what's that word? Collectively. It goes back to what I'm saying. You can't have culture by yourself. No such thing as culture by yourself. No such thing as spirituality by yourself. You've got to connect with your fellow Africans. Because what I don't know, Jawu might know. What we don't know, might know. And this is how we build a nation. This is how things get built. This is how Africans get things done together. There's no single human being that went out and said, I'm going to build a pyramid. You need some help? No, I got it. Culture is a fence, and it helps with the ability to process information. So your culture is your fence to white supremacy. When you act in your culture, there is no white supremacy. White supremacy on the outside looking in, like, what are those Africans doing over there? What are they building? I want to go over there. They building stuff way better. I was making big rocks into little rocks. They got pyramids and mounds and structures. But we do that collectively. Now, this is very important. The ability to process information. Why did they have to disrupt your culture? Culture teaches you how to process information. We're all cultural products. How we love, how we think, how we move, how we talk, it's all culture. Black is more than just a color, it's a culture. Black people have culture in America that started way back in the 60s. Say it loud, I'm black and I'm proud. That's a culture that was started. And what have people done with our culture? They've bit off our culture. You see old spies talking about swagger. Where do you get that from? Where did these words that you're stealing from our culture come from? Came from us. We created this. We created culture for ourselves because when we came here, they stripped us of our original culture. So we created another culture here, black culture. So we have to be proud of that, and we have to stick with that. Culture cannot exist outside of ourselves. It's in our minds. When you distort a person's culture, you distort their ability to process information. So if I distort your ability to process information, I can change you. I can make you into whatever I want. Yeah, you might look the same as the people around you, but you're thinking like the oppressor. You're thinking like the European. I can change you into I can mold you into a person that's not going to be for your people. And all of you know people just like who I'm talking about right now. And the bad thing is they don't even realize their culture and their mindset has been distorted. And culture is also a historical product. So the more culture moves through time, the more we can look back on it and go, this is what we do. Manhood is an expression of culture. And womanhood is an expression of culture. So even the way that we interact in our gender roles is a product of our culture. Women have always taken care of the babies. Always. And that's why in most cultural models, the women and the children are next to each other. I'm going to show you one of those models. Identity, personality, all cultural instruments. This is how a part of our culture starts to defend itself. Because we're going to defend it. Because we become prideful about our culture. So when we understand about our identity, we understand about our personality, we understand about our history, we understand about our ancestors, we understand about all our great achievements, we start to want to defend that. No one can take that from you. And you become prideful as an African person, and you say, nah, bro, you ain't gonna come in here and tell me about no universalism, no multiculturalism, no nothing else. Because I and my ancestors built this, and I'm gonna protect it. Appreciate it, brother. This is a cultural model. In the middle, you have what's called a Muntu. Now, this comes from the Congo. Dr. Fukiao's work. If you've never heard of Dr. Fukiao, I will write his name down for you after this, and you can go research it. He was initiated in a Congolese system. Muntu is a human. Now you have all these other things around here: mothers, secondary mothers, the community, the land. All these things are inside of a circle. The Congolese believe life is a circle within circles. So you have the human in the middle. Then you have the Duta, the mother, next to the human. The mothers are always at the center of civilization. That's just what it is. There's nothing sexist about that. There's nothing feministic about that. That's just what it is. That's just what African people believe. We've always venerated the woman. There's nothing wrong with that. They got to stop making us ashamed that we do that. There's nothing wrong with that. You got the children with that. Then you got the secondary mother unit. So these are mothers in the community. So in Africa, everybody's your mother.
That's right.
Now, some of us in the room are old enough to remember when you used to come home and your business already in the street. There, all the mothers mad. I heard what you did. You're like, dang, I ain't even told my mama yet. This is that model. The mothers, the secondary mothers of the community. Then you got the land and the elders and everything else. We always protect. The warriors always protect the elders. The warriors protect the children. The warriors protect the women. This is an Afrocentric model. This is what we do to protect our nations. Because if they get all the way to here, we done. Okay. Why did they demonize your African spiritual systems? Why did they make it so if you practice your African spiritual system, something like this background picture would happen? To insert foreign cultures. Remember what I told you earlier about how important culture is? When you insert a foreign culture, now your ability to process information has changed. You're thinking on a different plane. It's no more of this, it becomes I. I need to do this. I need to do that. Forget we. Forget us as a people. Forget the nation. I'm going to do what's best for me because I'm going to do this and I want to. That's what happens. And a lot of us don't even realize it. We being programmed. You don't hear we anymore. You hear me and I. So, they mask foreign culture as a savior system because you all need to be saved. From what? What do we need to be saved from that didn't occur in the first 188,000 years? What's still coming? And why is it taking so long? I mean, it's very interesting if you think about this. The oldest African bones have been found 188, 190,000 years ago. But we were taught that we needed to be saved from something. We had 100,000 head start to civilization. But people came by and told us we needed to be saved. How come it didn't get you first? This is what happens when you get away from your culture.
That's right.
When you don't practice your culture, people can insert their ideals, their beliefs, their principles inside of your culture, and your culture becomes distorted, if not eradicated.
Say that.
That is the biggest one. African spirituality wasn't created by people that wanted to distort your culture. was created by you. It was created by your ancestors, your people. Whatever they did not create, they want to destroy. Because you cannot expose and you cannot take advantage and exploit a people on something you don't understand. They have to be able to understand the situation in order to exploit it. They don't understand African spirituality. They want to get away from it. Oh, that's that devil worship, jungle music, booted, bone in the nose. I want to get away from that. I don't want that around my plantation. If I see it, I'm cutting hands and heads off. That's what happened.
Yes, sir.
That's what happened. So we're gonna continue to find out why. Oh, most importantly, and you don't have to go back. Most importantly, because your culture is powerful. It gave you the power to erect civilizations. It gave you the power to heal people with medicine. It gave you the power to make foods. It gave you the power to make music, art, math, astronomy, all of these things. That's what your spirituality did for me. And that's power that you cannot have and still be a slave. So these are some names of some African spiritual systems. And in retrospect, I could have put where they're from on here, but I'm gonna go off the top of the head and hope I remember where they're all from. Of course, Ifa, Nigeria, also known in Benin, also practiced in Ghana. Afa, which is a derivative of Ifa, is also in Nigeria, but this is practiced by the Yoruba people. This is practiced by the Igbo people. Ewe in Ghana. Fon, or the Dahomey people, Benin. Voodoo, you'll find it in Haiti, as well as Togo, as well as Benin. Odinani is also Igbo people. Of course, Science of Kemet in Kemet. Afatarug in Senegambia. Santeria, you'll find in Central America. Palo Mayoye, it's originated in the Congo, but you will find it in Central America as well, along with Lakumi and Kendoble. Poro and Sande is a jointing spirituality in which Poro is for males, Sande is for females in Sierra Leone. A Khan tradition in Ghana. One of Unc's favorite, the Mbuti people. Good old Central Africa, good old Congolese area. And the Ngomas is also Congo. Yeah, those forest people.
Forest people say the
Little
forest they go.
thing about the Mbuti people, because me and Unc studied that together. The Mbuti people are the children of the forest. That's what they call themselves, the children of the forest. They believe the forest provides them with everything they need, and it acts as their supreme deity. So there was a European that did a study on them.
Yeah.
Oh, you got it right here. Bang! Kevin Duffy, Children of the Forest, Africa's Mbuti Pygmies. So, this guy, Kevin Duffy, he went to the forest to meet these guys. And he was trying to wrap his head around why they don't leave this forest. Why is the forest so important? Why? What do you mean the forest is this, the forest is that, the forest is God? I don't get it. So the Mbuti priest told him, he said, when you see the forest, you see God. And for 3 pages after he said that, this European is trying to rationalize, wait, what do you mean? I don't get it. And this is what I mean about culture. Their culture is totally different. Their God is God on a cross, God in the stratosphere. Ours is right here, tangible. Forced. That's it. It's that simple. And if you look in a lot of these spiritual systems, they talk about the forest. They talk about how sacred the forest is. Our brother Asar Imhotep argues that the spiritual dimension is actually depicted as the forest. That's how important nature is to us. The place where your ancestors go, forest. Even the way we build our homes, nature. We look at termites, how they built their mounds. We made pyramids out of that. If you're not aligned with nature, you're not practicing African spirituality. Okay, patterns within African spirituality. All Africans that practice African spirituality have what is called a creator. And all in all, a vital force. A force that creates everything, a single entity. Africans say the source that was present at the time of creation. There's nothing spooky about that. We can call that a bunch of things. We call that the Big Bang. In fact, there's actually a word in Ifa called Akamba. Akamba is a derivative of the deity Oludumare. Akamba simply means Big Bang. So science and spirituality are not enemies. They're just telling a story in different ways. So if you don't understand something in spirituality, there's a scientific explanation. You just haven't found it yet. We worship natural forces. Every spiritual system you come across, they worship natural forces, whether they're the Neteru in Kemet, the Pangu in Senegal, the Abuzum in the Akan tradition, the Alusi in the Igbo tradition, the Orisha in the Ifa tradition. Whatever you want to call these forces, they're natural. They're always named after things we can see. The ocean, the rivers, the lightning, the thunderstorms. All things that we can see. In fact, hey, I wish he didn't go out. Sister Monica said something when she was talking about the child that was related to her. And she said that this child had a natural inclination to planting. We would call that in Ifa an Omo Osayin, which means child of Osayin. Osayin is the deity, he is the Lord of the plants. He does this. And they'll say children of his, they just naturally gravitate towards planting. So even the planting, we give that reference. The Lord of the plants. Because where your plants comes your food, your medicine, sometimes your shelter. We must venerate that, because without that, when you get sick and you don't know what herbs to use, your child is going to be, what are you going to say to your child? Or are you going to just try to use this law of, what do they call this? When you're supposed to, law of attraction. You're just going to attract that he's going to get better? Or are you going to use the herbs from your forest, from your garden, and heal them yourself? See, African spirituality is about power. It's about power and it's about energy. And using that in your life. People try to make this so difficult and so spooky. But if you really look at what these people believe in, it's so simple. It's so simple. We always venerate our ancestors through various practices, to include masquerades, rituals, songs, dance, libation, whatever you call it. This is what we do. Because we can't afford to let our ancestors die, because we have great ancestors. We have ancestors that were great in Kemet. We have ancestors that were great in Ghana. We have great ancestors in South Africa. We have great ancestors in Central Africa. We have great ancestors over the entire continent that did great and monumental things that they're still finding. They found a trace of an Ankh, not in Kemet, in South Africa. Now, South Africa, we got the oldest humans there. So that Ankh is not exclusive to Kemet. These are what our great ancestors did. So we venerate them as much as we can, so it becomes a streamline to where the child that is born in 2026 can tell you about stuff that happened way back then. That's the goal. That's our oral tradition. Teach the children about all of their progenitors, good and bad, because we can learn from both. Initiations. This is an African concept. Don't let no Black Greeks, don't let no Masons, don't let nobody tell you that this concept came from anywhere else but Africa. Our initiations were fundamental principles of life. You weren't a man unless you went through certain initiations. You weren't a woman unless you went through certain initiations. These wisdom centers taught you about life and being a mother or a father and providing for your children in your household. They taught you math, astronomy, all types of science. And this is throughout Africa. This just ain't in Kenya. We can find this everywhere. Men going through this, women going through this. The chief elder, the chief priest of the village, proceeding and looking over things, making sure everything's going right. Because they want to make strong Africans. Because they understand the model. The model I showed you earlier. If you don't continue to initiate strong Africans, this model is broken. One day there won't be a model if I don't continue this process. Balance. This is also in every African spiritual system. Everything must remain in balance. We have negative things happen to us. We got positive things happen to us. Life's like a roller coaster. You're up, you're down, you're up, you're down, you're up and down. But you have to appreciate both, right? Because they always say if you didn't have bad things, how would you know what anything good happened?
That's right.
We have the same thing in our spirituality. There are things that we worship that are not so good, and there's some things that we worship that are good. That's just life. A great example probably everybody knows. Set in Kemet. Set starts out as a pretty bad guy. He wants what he wants and he's willing to do anything to get it. But later on, Set falls in line and defends Amun-Ra, stabbing a pet. So things move in cycles. Just because something started out somewhere doesn't mean it's going to continue that way. Everything must remain in balance, including us. We have to remain balanced. You can't be all the time. You can't be passive all the time. There's a time and place for everything. And we need multiple types of Africans to accomplish what we call a Bibifuhudiye, African liberation. We need Africans that are warriors. We need Africans that are scientists. We need Africans that plant. We need Africans that can run, shoot, deliver, draw, whatever. We need it all. We're not going to win this thing one way. But I know it has to be incorporated with this. I mean, you can try without the support of your ancestors. I don't know how far you can get. Okay, go back. All right. Divinations. Divinations is in every African spiritual system. That's just what it is. Divinations can be seen as a systematic method in which you can organize what appears to be disjointed random facts of existence, such as they provide insight to a problem at hand. So you heard what they said, right? Systematic method. That's African all day. What's that word, Wujabu? Hesp. Correct method. This is in the language of our ancestors of the Egyptians. This is what they do. They knew long ago that everything that is going to be successful has to have a correct method. This is the progenitor to the scientific method. If your method is flawed, your results will be flawed. Period. So we have a systematic method of getting things done. No different. Find it all over the continent. So what I'm going to read you now is an excerpt from a book called Our Mathematical Universe. This is by Max Tegmark. He says, so why does our universe seem so mathematical, and what does it mean? In my new book, Our Mathematical Universe, I argue that it means that our universe isn't just described by math, but that it is math in the sense that we're all parts of a giant mathematical object, which in turn is a part of a multiverse so huge that makes other multiverses debated in a recent years seem puny in comparison. We humans have gradually discovered many additional recurring shapes and patterns in nature involving not only motion and gravity, but also areas as disparate as electricity, magnetism, light, heat, chemistry, radioactivity, subatomic particles. These patterns are summarized by what we call our laws of physics. Just as the shape of an eclipse, all of these laws can be described using mathematical equations. So what he's saying is everything that we can perceive, everything that is moving around us is some type of math, something we can equate, something we can put into an equation and calculate, and sometimes even predict because of the math. What is the math going to say? What does the math say about that meteorite hitting the earth? Where would it hit? What about these stars? How are they going to be in our trajectory? How long is this star going to be here? When is that solar eclipse coming? Where is that lunar eclipse coming? How long will it stay? You know, you get these things on Facebook, the moon is going to be out tonight. It's going to be the biggest that it's ever been in so long. And you look outside, dang, the moon is huge tonight. They're right. That's math. You can't predict these things without math. Okay. I'm going to show you some ancient African math. Ancient divination is a form of binary code. Binary code is a coding system using the binary digits 0 and 1 to represent a letter, a digit, or another character in a computer or another electronic device. Binary code assigns a pattern of binary digits called bits to each character, instruction, etc. For example, a binary string of 8 bits can represent any of 256 possible values and can therefore represent a variety of different items. Remember this number. Now, what I'm about to read is a Yoruba divination system. This is how they use their divination system. There are 16 major books in the Odu Ifa literary corpus. When combined, there are a total of 256 Odus, a collection of 16, which has 16 alternatives, 16 times 2, 4 times 4, etc. Believed to all reference situations, circumstances, and actions and consequences in life based on the untouchable essay. These are like tutorials. Relative to the 256 Odu coding, these form a basis of traditional Yoruba spiritual knowledge and are the foundation of all Yoruba divination systems. Ifa proverbs, stories, pottery, poetry are all written down but not passed down orally through Babalawos. And that's my source right there. That's a book. I will show you the book at the end. Speaking of which, shout out to my boy Tyler RBG coming in at the right time, as usual, with his queen, Sister T-Bye. I appreciate y'all coming by. So, Alafia. So, the previous slide told you about the binary code system, 256 possible outcomes, right? What are the coincidence that this Ifa system has 256 possible outcomes? Where did they get that from? You're looking at some of the world's first computing before the computer. Told you Africans had math. We had 188,000 head start. What they thought we were doing, just shoveling rocks the whole time.
We was waiting to be saved.
He was waiting to be saved. Waiting on you, boss.
We was living in the last days.
You're right.
Living in the last days, 188,000 years ago. And they still telling you, last days. Man, we living in the last Trump in office, man, we in the last days. These last days is, boy,
Wow, that's a long
longer.
day.
Maybe we got the hours wrong. Maybe it's not 24 hours in a day. Maybe it's like 24,000. Maybe that's why. African divine forces. So this word, womb, this word is in the Ga language, which is, they're people that are genetically linked to Akan, Yoruba. They're still in the same region. The definition is the invisible, smaller beings of a specialized and limited activity associated with medicines and magic with the ability to do work. This is scientifically simplified as energy. I told you science and spirituality aren't enemies. They're just explaining things different ways. So African spirituality is in the business of manifesting energies. And this definition is telling you it's energy. Y'all almost making it hard. That's it. It's not really that hard when you think about it. Africans created their divine forces, their spirits, the things that they worship after energy, things they can feel, things that happen. When you pull that bow back and that kinetic energy builds up and you let that thing go, it's real. That's what happens. Whoever on the other end of that boat, spears and arrows is flying.
Yes, they are.
Pseudos is crying. All right, let's get into some African deities.
Symbol of Christ.
Symbol of Christ, the fish. Oh, he look like he dancing, don't he? His name is Nomo. He's from the Mali Dogon people. Read a little bit about Nomo. In West Africa, the Dogon people of Mali believe that the African concept of Nomo, the power of the spoken word, carries the energy. I didn't write that. You see what they're saying about their own stuff. I didn't write that. They say it's energy. It carries an energy that produces all life and influences everything from destiny to the naming of children. By the human utterance or through the spoken word, human beings can invoke a kind of spiritual power. Nomo, the generative power of the spoken word, is the force that gives life to everything. It is present everywhere, and it brings into existence all that is seen and unseen. Furthermore, the Dogon believe that humans have power over the world and can direct the life force. Told you, African spirituality is about power. Power and energy. So when are we going to take our power back? Or are we just going to sit here and let these foreign cultures continue to tell you that you have no power and you have to wait for your power when you die? Because all three of these monotheistic Christian, Islam, Judaism tell you you got to wait till you die. You can't have nothing while you're on this plane. You got to wait for some heavenly thing in the sky, which you might not even get in.
Oh no, you ain't 144,000, bro. You know we done.
We already done. It's been more than 144,000 years. We all done. We all ain't getting in.
Is Noah like Ashe?
Somewhat. And it is a constant concept. The Dogons do say this is a constant concept throughout Africa. So since Nomo, that generative power, is similar to Ashe, I'll give you another word. What was the word me and Asar was going over? I'll give it to you at the end. But Ashe is very similar to Nomo. This is Kulu Kulu. This is one of Unc's favorite.
That's my favorite right there.
This is one of Unc's favorite right here. Kulu Kulu is a deity from the Amazulu people in South Africa.
Favorite.
Oops, my bad. Kulu Kulu brought human beings and cattle from an area of the reeds. He created everything from land, water to man, and the animals. He is considered the first man as well as the parent of all Zulus. He taught the Zulu people how to hunt, how to make fire, and how to grow food. Now you might be a little confused because you're like, wait, I thought he was a deity. But this says he was a man. We name deities after men that do great things.
Everybody do.
That's what we do.
Huh?
Example, a deity called Shango, fourth Olafin of Oyo. They loved him so much, they deified him. We want you to be around forever. We want to venerate you. You are our great ancestor. You did great things for us. We never want to let you go. We're going to make something so we never forget you. It's ancestral veneration. That's what we do. That's what we do as Africans, so our people never die. This particular deity is in a few spiritual systems. I only wrote down 2 here. He's in Voodoo and Ifa. Sakpanya, also known as Babaluaye. This is disease, sometimes sickness, sometimes healing. But I told you, there's nothing negative in African spirituality. We need that, and we need healing. It's just the other side of the coin. It's just the other side of the coin. We can't run away from bad times. We have to endure. Because Africans are so strong. We're such a proud people. We can't break under pressure. So we have to worship these deities. We have to worship these forces in nature. Bad, good, or indifferent. Because one day, you're going to see him. When it's cold, you forgot your jacket. You're going to see him. You're like, man, this cough killing me. There's no getting around it. It's life. Damballa. Damballa is a Voodoo deity, mostly found in Haitian Voodoo. He is described as a sky serpent. So you can see his serpent nature down there. Interesting thing about Damballa is he is said to be created in Ile-Ife. If anybody knows anything about the city Ile-Ife, it's a holy city for Ifa. But he's not an Ifa deity. But he tells you where he's from. He tells you where he's created. I won't say all, but most African spiritual systems mirror each other at some point. You just have to research further enough. And you'll start to see where they start to sync up. Damballa is a very important deity. Nana Kulu in West African Voodoo. This is Damballa. But she is a woman. Nana Kulu is the creator of it all. Everything. Stars, moon, sky, earth, everything. So we put an African woman as the face of everything. That's how we venerate our women. That's how important women are to us. We don't call them all the words that you hear on the radio. We don't do that. Africans don't do that. Not Africans that practice the traditions. We don't do that. We raise our women up. And it's more important that you do it now, because our women have been through so much that we need to start raising them back up. Yeah, brothers, we caught it. We caught it hard. But we ain't had to worry about some of the stuff that our women had to worry about. I mean, they got it from both sides, master and wife. Both of them hate. Both of them mistreat. Then they go through the process. Then they trick our women into believing that they had to be some type of feminist to get respect from us.
Say that.
We always respected our women. When the heck has your man ever been able to tell you what to do and you not be able to say that? When was this in African history? When? It ain't happening now. When? This don't happen, man. This don't happen. Black, come on now.
They fake you out. They make you think you in charge.
Right. We don't do our women like that. And they had to fight so hard, you know, and all the images on the TV make them want to be this, make them want to be that, all the light skin, dark skin thing.
Say that.
The women went through it, and they still going through it. So this is a perfect time to introduce them to something like this. Nana Kulu. Ijokuji. This is also a female deity. This is an Alusi from the Igbo Pantheon. This woman is over the production of yams. That might not mean that much to you, but these people eat yams all the time.
They got the yams.
This is all they do. Like, yams is a principal part of their diet.
Yeah.
When you get breakfast, you get a little yam.
Yeah.
Lunch, you get a little yam.
Yeah.
Dinner, you get a little yam.
Yeah.
Yams is very important to them, and it's looked at as a heavenly food.
Nobody understood Kendrick when he said, I got the yams.
I got the yams.
That's what he
Hey,
meant.
Ben, don't that start from the sickle cell? So on sickle or something like that, right or wrong? The yams, right?
I've heard, it's been said, but it hasn't been validated.
You sure?
I'm sure, because my sister has sickle cell.
And she eat yams?
No. Tried
Say,
it, I
you know.
tried it for a couple years, but I mean, it didn't do any effects. They're saying, it's just stated, but they don't know.
I'd ask my mother. You know, she used to work with a sickle cell thing.
I think it got something to do with the diet. The yams stop.
We'll look it up.
We tried. Because my kids have it.
And yams
Think it's
also, they
big.
mimic estrogen, that's why they have a lot of twins and stuff.
Right.
And that's a great point that you pick up, because African people have the most production of twins on the planet.
I got twins.
And it's not again.
I've been there.
That's just what we have. We have to eat beige all the time.
Right.
All the time.
That's right.
And we reverence that energy. Called it Ibeje. They're special. Go ahead, brother.
Hey, you know, I want to ask you this too. When you was over in Africa, did you witness a double, or a parent that gave birth to a double set of twins?
I've never witnessed it
I
myself.
witnessed it. I mean,
I've heard of it, yeah.
Okay.
I've heard of it.
My little cousin had a double set. I just thought that was just super rare.
A double set of twins. Y'all heard that?
Yes.
I mean, not at the same time.
So she had a set of twins, and then she had another set of twins. Your family blessed, man.
I have a friend that had three sets. They got 6 children, 3 sets of twins.
We talk about really blessed families because in African spirituality, twins isn't just a normal occurrence. Like, oh, it was just an accident. Oh, I got 2. No, you blessed. They blessed. Every time we give them money. We praise them. We make sure they protected. That's a joyous occasion in African tradition. Because you was blessed with 2 when you thought you was only getting 1.
Well, it's shocking.
Chuku. This is a shrine dedicated to Chuku. He's in the Igbo Pantheon as well. He is there all in all, but he is the combination of 2 deities, Allah, A-L-A, and Chi, which is a male deity. When they come together, they make Chuku, the all in all. So like the sister said earlier, you know, the masculine and the feminine always goes together. Fits like a perfect puzzle.
Sure does.
Now, I know y'all think about now, man, he couldn't get a better picture than. It's hard to get pictures of some of these deities because they don't depict them.
Yeah, that's right.
They said we didn't have enough of this white man stealing our stuff. We ain't drawing nothing else.
Uh-huh.
So the most I could get was an altar. Oludumare, the all in all in Ifa. Why did I pick this particular picture? Because it talks about Oludumare as the source of creation. And this is what I thought of. Things being created, the universe coming together, everything coming in a line. That's Oludumare. That force of creation. Existence itself. Nothing is outside of existence. So, you know, we got people in the community, oh, black man is gone. Oh, black woman is gone. Oh, you know, both of them God. I'm a God. Bow to me. But Africans say, everything is God.
Say that.
This camera I'm looking at, this presentation,
Yeah.
this building, this pointer, all of you, these plants, your children, air, water, everything, existence itself. So why would you call yourself a God when everything is?
None but God.
That's what the Africans say. My favorite, my friend. This is Ogun. Ogun. War, technology,
Yeah.
iron, truth.
Yeah.
We all need Ogun in our life, that ferocity to take down our enemies, that protection. We all need that. You see what he's doing? He's making tools right now.
Blacksmith.
He already, he's like, man, I got to go to war with these people.
Yes.
I'm making some tools.
Yes.
Some cutlasses, some machetes. We need that. In Nigeria, in their courts, when you go to testify, you don't see no Bibles.
Huh.
You gonna put a piece of iron. Do you swear to tell the truth? The whole truth and nothing but the truth. Iron. Right there. They don't do Bibles. They know you don't take that seriously. We know you take Ogun seriously. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We know you, man, that Bible, you can go up and lie. One of the most feared deities in Africa as well.
I'd like to say also Ogun is the healer as well. He can use the scalpel, he can use precise, he can cut out the cancer, as well as just decimate,
Surgical.
machete and the scalpel,
Absolutely.
definitely master healer over doctors and that type of thing.
If you work with any type of metal in your profession, you may be a child of Ogun. I got a friend right now working on a railroad all the time. I say, hey man, I think I think it's time you come on home. He's one of the most feared deities because it's said if you take an oath to this energy, you better be for real. This energy don't play around. Everybody got somebody in their family that don't play around. This is that. That one guy that you be like, okay, don't push uncle like that, because you know he gonna say too much and he gonna go off.
Yeah.
You'll cut a fool in him. So this is that.
He with the shit.
He's with it. All the way. Ain't no, well, just chill out. Just no. Go ahead. And the other side of the coin. Shango. Lightning. Fire breather. Shango is probably the most popular Orisha in the Pantheon. Everybody want to be Shango. That's just what it is. A deified ancestor in the flesh. Fire breather, because when he speaks, that truth coming out. That fire. He gonna light this whole room up. If a Shango worship get up, he gonna light this whole room up. Just invoking that speech. That's the energy they talk about. We all need that. We all need the ability to do that. Somebody mistreating you, you need to let them know. You need to breathe that fire. But man, you need to get up off me. It's gonna be problems. Now we're going to talk about some notable elders that are involved in African spirituality. This is Mama Marimba Annie. She lives right here in Atlanta, Georgia, for those that don't know. Author to the book Yorugu, which takes a look at our oppressor from the Dogon perspective. It's a heavy text, and she's a notable heavy scholar. She was crowned a Nana in Africa. For those not familiar with that term, it's the same term that our great ancestor John Henry Clark was crowned. It's basically crowning you a god on earth. You are divine. We worship your energy. And I had to put her first because a lot of people forget about Mama Marimba. And she's one of our great ancestors that we got left. She's still alive. If you get a chance to see her and to meet her, take that opportunity. You don't want to be, I had plans to go see Dr. Ben. I was about 2 months too late.
Oh, yeah, remember I missed him on the weekend.
It was 2 months too late.
Killed myself.
Marimba is M-A-R-I-M-A.
It's M-A-R-I-M-B-A.
Thank you. And Annie, A-N-I.
You know, book.
Just like Annie and Kim. Yeah, so if you get a chance to, you know, meet this great elder, please do. Please do. But this is another brother people don't really talk about that much. Dr. Wade Nobles. This brother is in the same tradition I'm in. He's in E5. And he's a very well put together scholar. Get his book, The Island of Memes. Talk about the Haitian Revolution. Great man, great scholar. He led tours for many years in Ghana. He doesn't do them anymore, but he put in a lot of work. A lot of work. I call this man Mr. Everything. Because Professor James Smalls is one of a kind.
Yeah, that's my man.
This man decided, in order to understand the paradigm from multiple perspectives, I need to be in it. So he was a Christian. He was a Muslim. Ifa, Voodoo, a Khan, and chief priest of the craft of Hugh Nefer.
One of the elders of the Raw Squad.
One of the elders of the Amara Squad. This man has fought for Afrocentricity in schools. He's made sure the culture did not die. He held the line.
Yes,
And now we got to hold it for him.
indeed.
I remember the first time I saw him on Hidden Colors.
It's the first time you say it?
I said, what's this guy talking about? All religion can go back to voodoo. Man, he just talking.
Kill me.
Years later,
Where you at? Who you with?
like old Baba Small was right. All the way right.
Yes.
So we honor this great elder, and another one that's still with us. You get an opportunity, make that happen. Make that happen. Next slide. Oh man, another elder of the Amara Squad, Dr. Leonard Jeffries.
Yes.
Facts.
Another elder that's still with us. Another student of Dr. Ben, along with James Small.
Yes.
Leonard Jeffries is still touring, still going around teaching
Yes.
to this day. And he's still, and he'll tell you, Afrikan Spirituality saved his life. He'll tell you they was looking for him, trying to take him out. And for everybody that loves that movie, Roots, ain't no Roots without this man. What do I mean by that? I mean Alex Haley used him for some of the accounts of that movie. I'm not telling you what I heard. I'm not telling you hearsay. I'm telling you what this man told me out his mouth. He walked with the giants. He was there with the Sheikh and the Jokes, the Dr. Benz, the John Henry Clark. He was there. One of our last great elders left. The last four, they're all still here. If you get that opportunity, do not delay. I'm telling you, because you're going to have that sinking feeling in your stomach, like, man, I missed my opportunity. You're not going to be here forever. We're going to be praising them at festivals. We're going to be praising them as dignified ancestors. So while you got the opportunity, take it. That's right. Next slide. And my favorite, though he's no longer with us, Nana, Dr. John Henry Clark.
I say.
His quote here, to be black and beautiful means nothing in this world unless we are black and powerful.
That's right.
And that says it all. I told you African spirituality is about power. This man said if you ain't got no power, you can be the best looking, most prideful, greatest everything. No power, they can come take whatever you got. And we'll take it if it's worthwhile. That's just what we're dealing with. But we have to understand that. So we have to be very strategic when creating things. Create something that's worthwhile, but also create something to protect it. Also do what you need to do to protect it. Because they coming. Y'all know it. Either with a check or with a gun. Or they gonna come. For anybody that knows Sarnetta, ask him how many times he been asked to get bought out. Got something worthwhile, we can make some money off of. I put a couple zeros on this check.
My.
You gonna sell your people out of what?
Ooh. Are you going to sell people?
Yeah.
It happens every day. Whether it's a clothing line, whether it's a star athlete, whether it's a musician, whether it's a researcher, whether it's anything you can think of, it happens all the time. And once you get into that cycle with them, it's very hard to get out. When you realize what's going on and you be like, man, I'm done, they ain't done with you.
What you gonna do about this well?
Yeah, what you gonna, well, when you sign, you didn't read the fine print, and now you owe us so and so and such if you want to quit now, you know. What you gonna do about that? Build something worthwhile, but always build something to protect it. Whether it's legally, whether you got a security team, whether you first of all, you need to get a team anyway. Get your team in 2017.
Get you a team.
So I like to say, get you a team seen and unseen. That's what I like to say. Get your ancestors back. Get that energy in your back.
Yes.
So you be covered both ways. You be covered. We can't continue to lose warriors to petty stuff. Woo. Wrong place, wrong time, when you could have known better. Come back to your traditions. I implore you, I beg of you, come back to your traditions.
Come on home.
We waiting. Ancestors waiting on you. Like Ashraf Kwesi always say, they at the door. Let me in.
Papa leg by the door.
Let me in. Why won't you give your culture a try? You done gave everything else a try. You tried everything else.
Yeah.
Yeah, making up stuff to you want to be Native American? You want to be Indian? You want to be everything in the book. But you don't want to be what you were born as. I don't understand.
They were scared of the tradition.
Why are you scared of what your people created?
Come on home, get your black.
And when you find out that there's somebody in your line that was in this, what you gonna say then? Some of y'all have natural things that you do, you don't know why. I'm saying come find out why.
Yeah.
If you a natural, just skilled archer, you like, man, I just picked up the bow one day and that was nice. We have words for that. we know what that is. You know? All I'm saying is give your traditions a try, because you done tried everything else. And everything else ain't working for you, or you wouldn't be here. If everything about these monotheistic religions was so great, wouldn't be here. If everything was about that was so great, we wouldn't be in the position we in today. Why are we in this position? Why is education a problem? Why is feeding our families a problem? Why is raising our children a problem? When we following everything in this book, I'm sorry, books with an S, because black folks in every religion, none of it's working. Why? Could it be that we are outside of our culture?
Very much so.
Could it be that we have not returned back to what made us so great thousands of years ago? All it takes is a little application. All it takes is trying something like you tried everything else. So with that being said, I'm Blak Panther from the Mossi Warrior Clan, and we have a prophecy. This prophecy is real.
Tell it.
You read this shirt for me, Brother Sean?
Yes, I don't mind doing that. The great prophecy of the Mossi, when the first white man appears in the land of the nation, will die.
Die! Keep them out of your business.
Yes.
Keep them out of your culture. And most importantly, keep them out of your spirituality. Spirits is flying.
Okay, question. Where you going? Ask questions.
Come on, question and answer.
And get some questions.
Question and answer, man.
It's right here. Can you stand for Hey, that's the brother, man, and his wife, man. You know, he inspired me to do the work that I'm doing with his music. All right. And so, you know, that hip hop right there, you know, that inspired me. So I just want y'all to know, man, he's also a priest, man. I'm glad to see him here. All right? I mean, that means something for him to be here.
That's my brother right there. That's my brother.
Hey, you know, I ain't got to say it. Matter of fact, I got you on my slides first time I met.
That's my brother right there.
Hey, you can't forget his wife, because that's that.
Oh yeah, that's why I'm here. That's why I'm here.
All right. You want to say something real quick for the question about that?
I just want to say, yo, brother's solid, been solid, y'all already know that. And he's solid in many more ways that maybe y'all might find out about. And yeah, this is great, man. This is it. Our traditions is the win and the planning, the strategy, everything. It's a lifestyle. It's not something you pick up. It's your lifestyle.
Yeah.
That's how we achieve African liberation. It's a lifestyle. It's a daily thing. Before you know it, you're bulletproof in many ways and able in many ways, where now you're doing what you need to do, and we're doing as a community what we need to do within our lifestyle. Tradition could be synonymous with lifestyle. African is synonymous with nature or natural. You know, if it's not natural, it's not African. If it's not tradition, it's not your life. You know, your lifestyle, it could be a European lifestyle. Is that going to work for you? No, you're not a European, you're African. So those words can be synonymous, and you know, and he did a wonderful, I was blown away, like, yo.
So if anybody have any questions, I'll take your questions.
I just had to come through it.
I did.
See.
Sure. If you should.
You see the back of that shirt again.
We need a picture back. We need a picture of the prophecy as well.
There you go.
Wait into a restaurant, boy, you get a lot of respect.
You sure do, boy.
I heard.
Hold on, we gotta get up on it now.
Yeah,
Here we go. Yes, the prophecy.
All right, family, we gotta run. We just wanted to stop and support you, brother. It was in town.
Okay.
All right. Awesome work.
Yes.
All right, I got a question. I'll wait for a second.
Good to see you.
I got you.
All right. Thank you. We're gonna run on out of here. How you doing?
Much love. So love to see you. Yes, yes, yes.
All right, Africans.
All right, Jesus.
Africans.
My man.
You study many spiritual systems, and you follow Ifa. Is that-
Ifa, yes.
Why did you choose that ideology? Why you're sitting with that one? Over the others?
That's funny you said that. Mostly because the man that just left his door.
And what are the ideologies of Ifa?
Ifa is traditionally from Ile-Ife, which is a city in Nigeria. And what drew me to Ifa is I studied Kemet for years. And I was like, what else is out there besides Kemet? You know, there has to be people that are still practicing these traditions that haven't been, you know, murdered or enslaved or anything. There has to still be people doing this. So I saw, you know, little things about the Orishas. You see them online. I went to this bookstore in Atlanta. The bookstore is called Dragons and Dungeons or something like that. So I went to this bookstore. I bought this book. It's called Way of Ifa. It's by Philip Neimark. I don't really recommend him as a scholar, but I did read the book. At the end of the book, I said, man, I want to know more about this. So I sought out to find a priest, what they call a Damballa. I found this gentleman. I had no idea that I had found the chief priest for all of North America and Puerto Rico. That didn't know that. And he never mentioned it to me. I had to find it out later. So he got me into the traditions. He got me into the lessons. He got me into reading certain things. He would send me things. So this whole thing about Africans don't read or Africans just do oral tradition is a lie. He would send me all of his literature. He actually wrote a book. It's called Cradle of Yoruba Civilization. You can actually get it on Amazon. He got me into exploring African spirituality. After I got well seasoned in Ifa, that's when I started going other places, looking at their spiritual systems, and noticed this is a continent-wide system that we do. Now, Ifa is very simple. Ifa has 16 laws of Ifa. And if I told you all 16 laws, you'd be like, I believe in that. Don't talk about something you don't know about. Always honor your ancestors. These are the type of things that are in these laws. There's nothing in these laws that will conflict with things that you already believe in. It's basically just don't lie, don't steal, be a good person, remain in nature. Ifa is a tradition of balance and nature-based tradition. We must get out in nature and find answers to our problems. Pharmaceutical companies are doing that. When they don't have the right combination in the lab, they look to nature. They write whole journals on stuff that they've tested and say, hey, this stuff works. This stuff can lower this or do this and do that. But it's not going to be something you know that's going to be on the Channel 5 News. You got to order these journals. That's why Brother Unk got me into a great practice. Get this for your children. Get this for yourself. Why? Because they are writing about you. You may look at this and be like, what does this have to do with me? What makes us human? Who are the first humans? Who are they writing about? And we on the cover of this thing so many times, and people don't know that they're writing about us.
So you saying we come from monkey?
There you go. There you go. I am absolutely not saying we're coming from
What you saying, man?
I'm gonna let you handle that. That's your field. I'm gonna let you handle that. But no, I'm not saying we come from. But Ifa falls in line with every other spiritual system in Africa. You will find the same things in Ifa that you find in Kemet. You'll find the same things in Ifa that you find in Nubia. It's a type of continental-wide system that is based around the same things. All of those things that I listed, the commonalities, you find that everywhere. So what made me get into Ifa is I wanted a vessel to express my African pride. I wanted a way to practice our cultural norms that I can't do with Christianity, I can't do with Islam, I can't do with Judaism, I can't do with any of these other things that they're throwing at me. I want to practice my culture. Where can I do that at? And that's what I was seeking. And that's what I found. I hope I answered your question.
Yeah, you did.
Any other questions?
No, you go.
Okay, so it's a running theme that, you know, the Amara Squad is avoiding spirituality and a bunch of atheists and all that. How do you connect the two? How do you connect African spirituality with the science community? How is that? How you do
Very
that?
great question. Well, let me dispel that first of all. The rumor that we are running from spirituality, let me put this real fast. Just run out of juice, but the rumor that we are running from spirituality is erroneous because within the Amara Squad, myself, Brother Asar, Brother Sanjeti, have all received what they call the hand of Ifa in the Ifa system. So if we were running from spirituality, why would we be in it? Makes no sense whatsoever. Brother Ujawu is a Siba. Brother Ujawu teaches the Medu-Neshi, the spiritual language of the Egyptians. Why are you teaching spirituality if you're running from it? Brother Unk, in every video you do, you have an altar in your back.
Yeah, people don't even notice that.
They don't notice that you have an altar in the back.
The blood, the stick, everything.
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 The ancestral staff, everything. So why or how could we be running from something that's in everything that we do?
All right.
Makes no sense. Now, when you connect the scientific aspect of it, I use science to meet people where they are with spirituality. So Africans say that we never die.
Right.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
We don't die.
Right.
What does science say?
No,
Energy
no.
law of thermodynamics number 3. Energy can never be created or destroyed.
Right.
So what do we transfer to? So the Africans were right a long time ago with their spiritual system. Science says it's a whole debate in science. Is the universe expanding? Is the universe contracting? African spirituality says you're both right. The universe is doing both. And that constant contraction and expanding is what is creating light, is what we can see.
Huh.
So who said African spirituality isn't scientific? Or are we just not in our cultures, so we don't really know what our Africans are saying? African spirituality is very scientific.
But
It
we
may
don't
not.
attribute science to Africa.
We do.
Most conscious people attribute science to the white man, so that's why there is no
That's true.
correlation, because they think it comes from the cracker, which is stupid.
That's true, because if I told people, hey, draw me a scientist, you probably draw me a little white guy with a pocket protector,
White lab
with some
coat.
glasses. I would draw Imhotep.
Exactly.
Right. The
The first known scientist that we can identify, like, that's him.
Oh, you got the sister Mary. You got,
Yeah.
she,
Oh, forgot the sister before Imhotep. What's her
Mary.
name?
What's the name? It's Sister Mary. That's her name.
Mary Ptah.
That's
Yeah,
it.
she
Before Imhotep.
Yeah, she before that.
So we have a tradition of scientists. We have a tradition of different scientific things we've done. Naptoplaya, natural satellite, before anything was ever released in the sky.
That's right.
We have those same stones in Ethiopia. We have those same stones in Senegambia. Why is everybody practicing science but they're not getting the credit in Africa? Because the paradigm and what we're in today cannot give all the credit to people that they're not. That's basically what it is. Why do you think they try to start the history with the Greeks? They can identify with the Greeks. They don't want to identify with us.
They're not supposed to.
They're not supposed to.
That's our job. They
That
give
is
you
our
enough
job.
credit by saying you their mothers and their fathers.
Yeah, that's about all we gonna get.
And then we so Uncle Tom'd out that we reject that. Oh, I ain't the motherfucker. You feel me? So I understand that it's okay to manipulate the truth to make your people grow, right? But the only way you can manipulate that truth, like the Bible manipulates truths.
Absolutely.
All day long. Like there is no Abraham, but they take one of their great, I'm gonna show you, they take one, it's called a big boy. They take a big boy, this is not a government system like that. It's just one person trying to get his idea, trying to get people to follow. You feel me? Mm-hmm. And that person becomes venerated and honored, and they make them great, they do all these things.
Statues,
I get that.
yards.
That's the whole Bible, honoring other people's culture.
Instead of honoring your own.
Right, that's the thing of the Bible. They added stuff. They did whatever they had to do to put themselves in the world. I mean, it was a great idea they did, man. We just got to stop feeling that idea.
Now look at these people on the front of this thing.
Right.
You think they have one single book that they live their whole lives by? No. They don't need a text to tell them how to live.
Huh.
Why do we? They got oral traditions go back thousands of years. Communicating with each other, talking to each other, teaching each other. They never needed a book. That's why when Mr. Duffy got there, he was puzzled. These people don't need no book. These people, and you know what? It's something about this region, the Congo, Ugandan region. When missionaries go there and talk to those people, they come back changed. There was this one, he wasn't a pope, he was like an archbishop or something. He went to try to convince them to come into the fold. By the time they was through with him, he not only did he not go back to the church or the priesthood, he was an atheist.
Huh.
They don't talk about it either.
He was like, oh man, you know what? I couldn't convince these people to need nothing. I found out I didn't need nothing. So, you know, we got to get back into our traditions. That's really what it's about. What's going on, brother?
Yeah, I was gonna ask you, did you see the video talking about those, I forget the name of those stones that you just mentioned, but, you know, they're basically like a donut. They're in the shape of a donut. But anyway, this one guy found this particular one in it, and he was coming back from somewhere out of Africa, flying back to, I don't know if it was Europe or where, but anyway, they said that when the guy had turned it a certain way, they said it shut down a whole system. You know, like where they, you know, chart the flights and all that. Shut the whole thing down, and they said the people rushed the plane, was like, what the hell y'all got in that bag? You know, and then, you know, the local guy, like, you know, he looked at the stone or whatever, and he was just like, oh, that's just some dumb rock, you know, but said that to say, you know, what you just said, there's a lot to that. I mean, it really is.
I've never heard of that,
I
but
haven't seen the blueprint,
yeah.
you know, nor, or whatever, like to back it up, but it's something to that, you know what I mean? Like seriously.
And that's the thing that's out there, right? We primitive. We didn't know what we were doing. You know, we didn't have no history, no science, no none of that, right? More research, find out that's an outright lie. A lot of people don't know there are pyramids in Nigeria. I ain't talking about natural mounds that are just there. I'm talking about pyramids that they built. They're called the Insu pyramids. They're not as big as the ones in Egypt, but they're there.
Some guy on there too talking about he found a lot of black artifacts over in Europe before they dug.
Oh yeah, black people, we're people that were, you know, a lot of places. So remnants are in different areas. Did the sister have? Did you have a question? Did I see? Okay. All right. There's no more questions on Blak Pantha. Really? Go ahead.
How would someone, you know, if we're here in the Atlanta area and somebody wants to learn more or find out more information about IFA, what would you suggest them to do?
Excellent question. You can contact Brother Tahir. You can contact myself. We'll put you in touch with the right people. There are plenty of IFA temples in Atlanta. They have whole stores.
Yeah.
Ye's Botanical, 7 Power Botanical. There are many different outlets, and if you contact me, I'll point you in the right direction. It's no problem. It's actually my duty.
That's right.
So, in closing, I want to say, first of all, because I didn't go over the pseudoisms, devil worship. You've heard that, right? Africans worship the devil. All this stuff is devil worship.
Pseudo.
How can Africans worship something that wasn't a something when they practiced what they were practicing?
Come on with the facts, Blak Pantha. That's what's up.
When did this devil come about?
The moment they didn't understand it.
You made up ass boogie.
So if my tradition predates your book, how can you try to say this existed here when it wasn't invented yet?
Right.
Or is it that my tradition doesn't fit in your paradigm and your plan to enslave me? Who is the devil now?
Exactly.
Who's the devil now?
It's so easy when you think about it.
You know, I broke down that one time when he was I forget what video it was on, but he oh man, he broke it down so beautifully. He was just saying, you know, like about the reason why he stopped using the term slavery, you know what I mean?
Right. You say prisoner of war.
When he was talking, you know when he was saying
Kidnapped victims.
The Bible,
Kidnapped victims. That's right.
it okays it.
He was on the couch.
And when you said that opened my eyes up so big. And I even teach you now. I said, you know what? I said, like, if you or I do something, they're gonna label us as criminals. And I said, you know what? This is what it is, and this is the watered down term that they call it. And I said, and if you explain that, I said, even I tell my son that, because he'll be 16 in November, but I even tell him that, you know, we got to break that, because every time we say we were in that, you literally, you know, in some traditions, and we're not in some traditions, in most traditions, you literally put a curse on yourself by saying you can't slave. You know what I'm saying?
I'll tell you this, brother. Brother Unc was exactly right, you know, and he makes a great point about what was illegal at the time and what was legal at the time. You know, that was totally legal. Slavery was totally legal. And a lot of problems people have run into getting reparations is they keep painting it slavery. Well, they go back and look and they be like, well, that was legal in 1500s. You ain't got a leg to stand on. But kidnapping,
that's what I call it,
was illegal. And that's what they did. They came in and raped us from us home. What would you call that?
Right.
If somebody did that to your child right now, you'd be on the phone saying, my child has been what? Kidnapped. You want to say your child's been enslaved.
Right.
It's just what it is. So
and that's another thing. When they charge you with a crime, they have multiple counts. You think you committed one crime, you steal something, but it could be a count of burglary, a count of aggravated burglary, a count of weapon, or whatever the case is. So
and what you had on you.
Right. So with slavery, you had kidnapping.
Right.
Add to the count. So if people want to, you know, charge the establishment with something, they can add to the count. You know.
Aggravated. You think you just assaulted the guy? No, it's
Aggravated
aggravated assault. Assault with a deadly weapon. Ain't just simple battery. They hit you in the lines. Yeah, cross the state lines assault. Man, I just drove to go whoop this dude behind. Man, they hit me with all these charges.
You know, that's how a lot of us got locked up in the 90s like that. We got locked up off there because they locked us up for cocaine. And they say, well, hold on. It ain't just cocaine. You have processed that. It's crack. And that, you get about 30 years. You're like, wait a minute, dog. You just gave me 30 years for less than an ounce of crack. Sir, hey man, and they took, it was so crazy and outrageous that they took that back. What they call that? They took the law back.
I know they changed it.
And they was like, yeah, they was like, yeah, that's crazy. But yeah, I mean, dudes was locked up 15 years. You locked up for 15, you gonna take it back? You mean mad, really?
Yeah. Well, I only got 2 years left.
And it affected our community.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so, you know, we made the adjustment. You know what I'm saying? That's the rule. Don't cook that up. I mean, you gotta make the adjustments.
So here your cocaine,
That was a rookie.
here your baking soda.
I mean, you could get caught with keys of powder cocaine, and you
Get out.
receive like a year for each one of them,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But let that ounce be cracked 20 years.
Outta
And
here.
it's federal sentencing guidelines. It's under the guidelines. There's nothing you can do. So you spend all this money in court, you know, with the feds, but you still, it's a guideline. They say, yo, you cooked it out. You're like, what? So, I mean, you know, that's part of the whole game. So I'm saying to say, we gotta learn the game though, period, no matter
That's
what we
right.
do. And I don't think we've made good adjustments on understanding what the game is. We think it's not a game, right? It's
a game.
rules and regulations, it's set things they put in, and the only way you're gonna get around it is to learn the game. And so, you know, that's why I practice science, because that's the game. And they manipulate that to their advantage.
Put that fence in your life, man. Put your culture back in your life.
Yeah.
Make it be that fence. But always be aware of the game.
Game.
I ain't never told you not to study. What's that book you got back there on medieval Europe?
Yeah,
Ooh, love that
Read that book.
medieval
Ooh,
up
love
and-
that
Read that book. You know why you need to read that
That's a
book?
good book.
Because you need to understand
You
your
got it.
oppressor.
Yeah.
John Henry Clark taught us
The
that.
game you playing.
Yep.
You got to understand it. Because if you don't understand, you're going to make mistakes. And that mistake may be costly. Neely Fuller told us, until you understand white supremacy, you won't understand it.
I ain't confused by anything else.
It's just what it is. So if there's no further questions,
Take that break.
take that break. Please come back, see some of the publications that we got. You know, holla at
I'm
us.
gonna take a picture.
Spirits Flying.
Yeah.